Hi guys, I'm Ashley, and today we're exploring the Muskeg here in southeast Alaska. And a muskeg is sort of a mix of like a swamp or a salt marsh, but it's all freshwater, and it's kind of right on the fringe of forest. And Alaska is covered in muskeg. We're gonna pan around so you can see some of the ponds that are around here, and it's full of all kinds of wonderful plants, and it's home to animals. The deer really like the muskeg, wolves and bear. Birds love the muskeg because it's full of all kinds of food for them and also for us. So Tristan and I are really big foragers here in southeast Alaska, and so today we are sitting right in the middle of a juniper field. And they're everywhere. They're all around us. It's the biggest juniper field we've ever found. And juniper is so good for so many ways. You can take the plant, and we use it to smoke our meats. And you can make tea out of it. I really like to do that. And then as you can see, these bushes are covered in berries. And the berries are so good for all kinds of things. You can use them in pickling spices. We like to pickle vegetables. You can make kimchi and sauerkraut with it. I like to toast them and then use them in my grinder, my spice grinder, for seasonings for all kinds of things. And then I made juniper butter this week, so we can talk a little bit about that later. But that's one of our favorite things from the Another one of our favorite things to harvest from the muskeg are cranberries. And these are last year's cranberries, so they're still everywhere right now, but they're all over the muskeg. From last fall, which we collected quite a few last fall, but they're still edible right now. It's a huge food source for bears that come out of hibernation this time of year. Birds love cranberries, and they grow on little vines in the muskeg. So I'm going to try to zoom in on this and see if we can get you to see all of the cranberries that are just growing down here in the muskeg. This taller plant is Labrador tea, so it's kind of the block for all the little cranberries down there. And Tristan's only been picking for a minute, and he's already got a handful. So we make jam and cakes, and you can make cranberry sauce, homemade cranberry sauce. You can sugarcoat them, all kinds of stuff. Alright, so here in southeast Alaska, we were covered with ice as little as like 8,000 years ago. In some places there was a little ice age as little as a couple hundred years ago, like up in Glacier Bay, or even closer to us in the Misty Fjords. So you can see our mountain behind us kind of has a rounded off top, and that's because we were covered in about 3,000 feet of ice. And everything around here was just completely covered in that. We don't really have any mountains that stick up above 3,000 feet right here in this area, and so the ones that we don't are rounded up because they got just shaved off by the ice. But this right here, muskeg, was one of the first things to come back after the glaciers receded, because lichen and moss and those things are the first things that start to grow back, and then berry bushes. And so this was bare rock before all of this started to come over. Now eventually it will become a forest, and when you're looking around, we have trees here in our muskeg. These are small cedars and hemlock trees. So the cedars are these right here, and the hemlocks are right here. They have shorter needles. And then if you look, and we're going to pan around, and you can see that there's a forest that starts to come into view just behind us, because they go from stunted growth trees out here in the muskeg to full forest. And that's called forest succession. A lot of people think of it, a pond turns into a swamp and then into a grassland and then into a forest. It kind of happens all over the world, but here ours start with a muskeg, and then it turns into a grassland, small stunted forest, and then we get our full-on rainforest, because we are here in the largest rainforest in North America. So we showed you where we harvest the juniper berries from and what they look like in the wild, and now we want to show you what we do with them. So in the oven I have the juniper plants with some of the mature berries toasting, and they're at 170 degrees, so pretty low, and I just do it until they start to get a little crispy. You can see they're super bright green now, and those I'm going to save for tea. And you saw Tristan get the bigger leaves and the bigger branches last week, and those are more for our smoker outside that we smoke our meats in. And then here I am toasting the berries. So it goes on about a medium heat, and then I put the berries in there and I just kind of rock them back and forth. You can use a spatula, you can shake them, you don't have to put any oil in it. And those will become little toasted berries that we use in a season grinder. And this is my season grinder, and it's got toasted juniper berries. I mix it with sage. There's peppercorn in here, but you can put any herbs that you want and make your own little season grinder. So it's great for pork, or we do wild game with that, which is really good. Siren has just noticed that we have started toasting things and is pretty excited about it. So you can start to see that they're getting a little darker. And every minute or so, I just pick it up and roll it around. That way all sides get toasted. And you can really start to tell when they're getting almost done, because you can see quite a few of them are getting browner. And you'll be able to smell it. I wish that you could smell the smell of this fresh juniper being toasted, because it's pretty amazing. But hopefully you can do your own. And the same thing going on down here in the oven. You can see they're starting to get a little crispier. Some of them are turning more brown. And then I'll pull them out in a minute and kind of check on those and see how they're doing. But I'm just drying those out so we can preserve them for tea.